Hey world, Dr. Dan Lyons coming you with a Friday evening poolside edition of Friday Philosophy. And I'm very excited to share these thoughts with you tonight. I want to start off with talking about the cycle of life. And everybody's seen the Lion King, and so we know the whole song there. But that cycle really exists. And in chiropractic, that's something that we talk a lot about. Cycles. And cycles can be as simple as the one from your brain down to your body, to every single cell in your body, and then back up to your brain. And that's the cycle that literally runs your life on a day-to-day basis. But as you step back and look at your life outside your body, that's really all we see is cycles. In the economic world, we have cycles. You go to work and earn money so that you can spend money, so that someone else can earn money, so they can spend money that end up back in your pocket. And if you're running that cycle right, you're doing really well. You got money coming in. If you're not running that cycle right, then you don't have enough money in your pocket. You need to find a better way. The same thing with the health of your nervous system in your body. If you're running that cycle right, all the messages get from your brain down to your body, and they all get back up to your brain so your brain can decide what it should do in the next moment. If you're running that right, you're healthy. If you don't run that right, there's a consequence. But even in our bodies and in health on a bigger level, we take in food to create energy in our bodies, to give us sustenance. And some of that turns into energy, some of that turns into what you see in the mirror every day, and some of that ends up as waste. That ends up fertilizing and becoming food for something else that may end up being food for you. And eventually, we all die, and so we end up becoming food for something else, and it enters a bigger cycle. And those are the ideas that you have to keep in mind when you try to negotiate the world today, the healthcare world especially, because it is a grind. It's a grind that you have to do every single day. You don't get to ever stop breathing. Well, you do, but there's a price to pay for that. I talked a little bit about, if you could hear me last week, you could hear me talk about the price we pay. So you never get to stop breathing. You never get to stop eating. You never get to stop drinking water. Those are things that have to go on continually. And in the office, I'll tell patients that life is like running up the downward escalator at the mall. And when I was a kid, I used to love running up the downward escalator at the mall. My mom would take me and my sister out to Westtown Mall, and it was usually JCPenney's, and we'd usually try and sneak away from her, and we'd just have a blast running up to the top. And you learn a lot of lessons from doing that. You learn that it takes a lot of work, especially when you're a little kid, to get up to the top of that escalator. And you also learn that if you stop doing the work, you end up back down at the bottom. Well, that escalator is just like life. The difference is that in life, you have health at the top, and you have death way down at the bottom. And most of us are somewhere in the middle, thinking that we are closer to the top than they are at the bottom. The big difference is that the closer you are to the bottom, the faster that thing turns. And so we all have known someone that seemed fairly healthy, and they had a cough or a headache and something, and boom, they were gone. Okay? Because they stopped moving on that escalator. And the second difference is that no matter where you are on that escalator, the closer you are, or the more stressed you are, the faster it starts to turn. So when you have something like a change in jobs or a family crisis, you start to get frustrated, and you have health issues that you may not realize until too late. So you have to take steps. There's my lovely wife. Hey there. So you have to take steps to overcome that. You might have to get adjusted more. You might have to clean up your diet or do something, exercise more to do that. But there's always that price we pay. If you go to the gym a lot, if you work out too hard, you end up damaging joints. You end up pulling muscles, damaging ligaments. That's the price we pay. And so we have to choose wisely about everything. And it's always a journey of learning as well. Every day you should be learning more about your body because you are the most important science experiment that you will ever have, right there in your own body. And it doesn't matter whether the odds force you, let's say you go, you come across a new workout you want to do and everybody gets great results with it. You might not be. 1 in a million may, and it doesn't matter if you're 1 in a million for or against, there's still that one. And the only way to find out which side of that equation you are on is to try it. And so you are constantly ongoing experiment. You are constantly grinding that experiment out. And as with everything, as with science, especially like all the science that we see right now with the pandemic, is that it's always changing. And there's a saying is that only time will tell. And there is probably nothing more true than that, because once you look back, hindsight is 20/20. Once you look back to see what has happened, that's the only way you can really figure out what's going on and what's true. In chiropractic, we call principle number 6 time. There is no process which does not require time. That means to us chiropractors, that it doesn't matter what we're doing. There's a period of time to find that out. So it is with discovery. And the science that we base all our decisions on, or we should be basing our decisions on, we have to make sure that that is solid science. And there's some problems with that. And I was listening to an interview with a Dr. Brett Weinstein, who's a evolutionary biologist. And he was talking about the problems in science, and that his words were that he was looking at his medicine cabinet and realizing that there was nothing he could do to protect himself from the dangers of science, because the science that produced those drugs was probably not as valid as they thought, or valid at all. And he said the only thing you can do to protect yourself is to get off all pharmaceuticals. And chiropractic is the largest non-drug health profession in the world, the largest. And so I'm proud to be a part of that. And we don't speed the body up. We don't slow it down. We don't shake things up. We don't rinse people out. All we do is help the body to run the way it should. So I hope you enjoyed this. As always, I love the comments and the shares and the questions, and I hope to see you next Friday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye. She just went inside. How was Aunt Doozy's?
Good. I'm
Aunt
also going
Doozy's.
to apply to be a waitress at Mackinac because they're right next to each other, and because, why not? These are my cool shoes, my non-slip shoes. They look like sneakers.
They
are.
do. Let me see those. Take one of those bad boys off.
Also, I got, okay, so
She
I got,
came in there, and then she came out here. She's like,